Hi and hello watch fans and welcome back to the Glass Onion outside the pavilion at Geneva Watch Days 2025. We are joined by Matthieu Haverlan of Ulysse Nardin to talk about a very exciting watch that's laying on the tray in front of us. We're going to get straight into it because Matthieu is one of the most common guests on the Real Time Show. You've been on maybe 3 or 4 times already, and we love having you here because you're a great talker, you're a great representative for the brand, and you've got great shoes. That's what matters.
AJ4s, guys. OG. I feel the heat.
So talk to us about this new watch in front of you, Matthieu. What are we looking at here?
So pleasure to be on the show again, guys. Thank you for the opportunity. So we're launching this year the Freak-X Crystallium. You know, Freak-X goes back to 2019 when we wanted to actually go from one product at a time to build a collection of the Freak. And people really thought that we were crazy to put a crown on the Freak and, you know, to lower down the price to, 20K something Swiss franc, which ultimately, years after that became really one of our best-selling products. And this time we wanted to challenge ourselves on the métier d'art, on the craftsmanship. The way I talk about Ulysse Nardin, our mission as watchmaker is to advance the watchmaking industry, through pioneering technology like silicone and also unmatched craftsmanship. And I think that's really a definition of what I call by, unmatched craftsmanship. I like to say that Crystallium is a kind of a high-tech métier d'art. So I'm going to tell you more about that. It's the second time that we do Crystallium. We did it the first time for the Freak-S Purple Crystallium edition for Watches of Switzerland, our retail partner in the UK and the US. We made 10 variations, 10 dies. And this time, basically, we wanted to do a gold leaf version, of that material on the Freak-X. So it's a very tough process. We wanted to make 100 of them. Ultimately, we're gonna make only 50, just because it's too costly, and the whole process we have to make several dies basically to have one finished product. At its core, Crystallium is ruthenium, so it's the same metal family as platinum, although it's 10 times rarer than platinum, and it's obviously more expensive. And we go through quite a long, it's almost a week process of a vapor crystallization of the ruthenium. So basically, we grow, Crystallium with a technical and chemical process, and the result is something very shiny, something very strong, and the raw material is gray, and then we apply a rose gold PVD on the die. And then we are also applying a varnish, a black translucent varnish on the side to have that nice fumé effect, ombre dyed. And I think the result is absolutely stunning.
It's honestly not something I've ever really seen before. Like the fumé effect is absolutely incredible. Yeah. May I have a closer look at it, please?
Absolutely.
Because I want this watch on my wrist. Okay, so have a look at this. It's even better in real life than I'm sure it could possibly look on camera. How can you keep innovating? I mean, the Freak is already an icon, and I mean that in the truest sense of the word. You know how we feel about it. You know how we feel about Ulysse Nardin in general, but this is taking things to another level that we never saw coming. Where does the creativity come from?
We go back to the, to the brand mission. Why do we innovate? The mission of the brand is to inspire innovation and to foster human ambition. Think back of the quote of Paul David Nardin, back in, 1876, when he was about to change the game in marine chronometry. He was saying, if it's possible, it's done. If it's impossible, it will be done. And the way we managed to basically, take over the leadership of the British, of the French in terms of marine chronometer and ending up, supplying the top 50 navies in the world is because we had that mindset. And it's because we kept innovating, making a better product, that we ended up basically, to be the market leader of marine chronometer. So at UN, we think differently by nature. And we really believe that real progress happens when you explore beyond what's possible. Rolf Schneider, which I wish I would have met, the owner of Ulysse Nardin, who acquired the brand in the 80s, was saying that great ideas come from inventors, dreamers, thinkers. So he was pretty much saying the same thing as Paul David Nardin, you know, with his own words. So it's our raison d'être. It's why we do things. And obviously, how do we inspire innovation in our world is by advancing the watchmaking industry through, pioneering technologies and unmasked craftsmanship. Therefore, every time we launch a product, we need to make sure that there is a component of that, whether it's on the craftsmanship, whether it's on the mechanics, whether it's on the technology. We have to bring progress to the industry. If you think about, for instance, the grinder technology, the mechanism, the automatic mechanism we have on the Freak 1, on the Freak S, it's a fact that's the most effective automatic winding system in the industry. In 30 years from now, it will be, free of patent.
Mm.
If it's still at that time the most effective automatic winding system in the industry, other brands will use it. Same, what happened with silicon, which we pioneered in 2001. We also, have, we're gonna. I'm just giving you an example. We patented in 2006 an advancement on the silicon technology called the diamond seal. Right? We apply at Sigatech, our silicon lab in the Swiss Valley, some silicon synthetic diamond on the silicon to make the silicon even more robust. Through time. And now for me, for instance, it's to make sure that we have that in every single watches. And today we don't have that in every single watches, So it's like that red thread of innovation that needs to be really a common pattern for every single product we are launching. And therefore, in the métier d'art, there is a way also to experiment something new. That's what we've done also, with the silicon marquetry on the blast. No one has done that before. You have, a marquetry of straw, marquetry of wood. So I think there is even innovation that we can bring in the artistic dimension of Ulysse Nardin through the métier d'art. And then you'll see for the Freak, especially next year, we're going to celebrate, 25 years of Freaks. We're going to launch something big. And again, we are really pushing the limit of what currently is possible in the watchmaking industry and in the Freak collection.
I want to take this in a slightly philosophical direction, and it's a purely speculative conversation. When the Freak originally came out, just at the turn of the millennium, it brought silicon to the forefront of everybody's mind in the watchmaking industry. And I remember early on in my career writing a great many articles about how silicon was the future. Now, obviously, there's still some years to run before that technology would fall into the public domain. But I wonder now, after seeing many innovations in the years since, whether or not silicon will be the future of watchmaking, or whether watchmaking has changed sufficiently to almost go backwards. Because, UN's fortunate in this sense because you have an incredible history. Like, it goes all the way back to the marine chronometers. So you could pivot very easily. Some other brands, younger brands, maybe couldn't. And my question is, these technologies that you're developing, as fascinating as they are, and as efficient as maybe the winding system you're discussing is, are they the preserve of other brands, or is it really something only you can do because of your abilities and also because of the brand that you are? It strikes me as questionable whether better is always better in the watchmaking industry, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because, a quartz watch keeps better time than any of the watches we're wearing. But that's not why we're here. We're not here for absolute accuracy. We're here for innovation, for beauty, for craft. And the great example you just made of the silicon marquetry. You've taken the internals of the watch and you've made it the aesthetic point. So my question is, if I can drill it down to something, do you think that in, let's say, not just 5 years or 6 years when silicon technology will, be in the public domain, but in another 30 years when the winding mechanism is in the public domain, will people adopt it? Or is it just your thing?
When we were doing marine chronometers, obviously it was not about making a beautiful timing object. It was to make the most accurate tool possible to avoid people dying at sea, to give also a competitive advantage to nations, to discover new territories and also to gain advantage over other nations. Right? It was a vital tool. So that's obviously the first period. Then, if you look at the second big period for Ulysse Nardin, which is the 80s and 90s, that's a period where watches became, a luxury object.
Yeah.
And therefore, we are not saving life anymore, making innovative timepieces. But again, I go back to the mission. We want to inspire innovation and foster human ambition. So in regards of the watches, yes, we want to bring progress. We want to, if I think about why is the silicone and why is the silicone an amazing breakthrough in the escapement, is because the escapement, as you know, can be magnetized. Mm-hmm. You know also that with all the shocks that the escapement wheel, the anchor are taking, every second, every minute, every hours, every day, those are really the most vital component of the watch, but at the same time the most fragile component. So the goal really is to improve, the timepiece per se. Same with the grinder. The goal is to have to be more user friendly, and that's why the FreeCast for me it's not just the first automatic double balance wheel watch on the market. It's still the only one. It's just a proof to show that our winding system is the most effective on the market, because we are able to function watches that should not be functioning with an automatic winding system. So in the end, again, it's to be more user-friendly, to have something that works automatically as opposed to be manual wind. We are still investing in the sphere of maybe the next step of silicone. Actually, the next step of silicone in my hand, in our world, is already the Diamond Sea. Mm-hmm. It's a UN reality. It might become another brand reality in the future. And we are still investing in the space of the future of hairspring, maybe to try to have a watch that can operate and work without a hairspring at all, and also improving the power reserve and so on. That's why it's like hard R&D where we do invest. At the end of the day, it matters to us because it's who we are. We want to innovate with a purpose, not just to innovate just for the sake of innovating. And we want to innovate to inspire, because through the product we want to inspire beyond watches, people to innovate, people to be, a better version of themselves, people to push the boundaries in their own category. And that's why, for instance, we've been associated with the Global 3000, the supercar rally, because all those guys are really sharing that mindset, and for me, that's really the right way to be into automotive, That's why we are not doing F1. That's why we are not launching a collaboration with another car brand, because this is conventional. Gumball 3000 is our unconventional version of doing something in the supercar world. You know what I mean? Mm. And last but not least, because we are not just innovating for us. Our silicon lab, Sigatech, which we co-founded in the years 2000, 95% of the supply goes to competitors. 5% of the output is for UN. 95 is, I will not name because I think it's not the right place to do so, but we've got many watch brands that are our client. Same goes for the enamel die, Donze Cadran. I had a client yesterday visiting Donze Cadran, and he said to me, Matthieu, I was amazed to see so many dies made for other big brands. And why are you not talking about that? I said I don't want to be bragging about that. Donze Cadran, it's an independent workshop that is owned 100% by Ulysse Nardin. We make some of the best enamel die in the world. And yes, we make 1,000 enamel dies a year, about 100 for UN, 900. Where do you think they go?
Wow. I mean, it's incredible to hear, and it's humbling to hear, really, that you have so many activities that affect so positively so many other brands. And it's great that you don't talk about it. Do you sometimes feel like you wish you could talk about it? I mean, it's a story that lesser brands would ride until they died,
Yeah, but it's not the values of the brand. Obviously, especially through social media, through the podcast, through the content we create, I want to make the UN story more known. That's why, for instance, we did that collaboration with Amaury Guichon. He's a French Swiss chocolate and pastry chef.
It was incredible.
And he's highly talented. And the reason we did it is, again, if we say that we are different, if you think different, we do that in the product, but it has to be also done in the way we do think the brand, in marketing and communication. Hence also that collaboration with Amaury Guichon, and the video of him building that massive freak in chocolate has been seen, I think, 330 million times.
Wow.
By about 160 million people. So basically, you've got 1.8% of the global population that have seen the freak video.
I have been forwarded that video over 100 times by my friends
Yes.
and family.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to reply, thanks, I've seen it. Amazing, isn't it? Ulysse Nardin is cool. And so
I love the crystal, by the way. The crystal is the most. I like. What is that?
Made out of sugar.
No way.
So in fact, I think I even had friends, like, I lost completely, track of them like 15, 20 years ago, that messaged me on LinkedIn, on Facebook.
No way.
About that, yes, reconnecting with me. So that's how that something really went completely viral, and global.
I begs the question, who ate it?
Has someone eaten it?
It's kept in his laboratory workshop / museum in Vegas, who is based in Vegas for now the past 10 years. And it has a whole, facility where there is a constant, humidity and temperature, so that you can keep basically the sculpture alive. So
the Hall of Fame of chocolate.
yes, it's private, but I had the opportunity to visit him in Vegas, about a year ago, and that was insane.
Amazing.
So, when that mission, in fact, I think at UN goes or transcends Ulysse Nardin, I think we have a bigger mission about and a role in the watchmaking industry, then you don't brag. I was taking that reference of brands, doing that much and saying a lot. UN is definitely, I believe, the opposite. And my role, and the role obviously of the UN teams, is to make sure that, we tell more of those stories because it has to be known.
Talking of stories, you touched upon a topic I wanted to raise now, is the material you guys have in-house. And you've championed enamel, grand feu, and many different techniques of it.
Cloisonné, chanlevé.
Exactly. Classical, fantastic watch. The marine, torpilleur, marine, the diver even, the baton hands on the diver are fantastic. So every detail you guys do, unique. With the independence you guys have gained as so wonderful, and with you at the helm and the youth you've literally transcended and the energy, are you guys letting go of these classic collections? Or are you using all these amazing pieces, watches? I wonder, we saw the diver, we now see the Freak X, another Freak is gonna come. It's all about R&D, technology pushing the envelope further. Are those talking pieces, or is this the future for you, and then you're letting go of the tradition?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think in the end, it's a fair balance. When we develop product, obviously, the product plan is already set for until 2031. I can tell you that the global direction in terms of design language is to go slightly more contemporary, slightly more classic. But when I say slightly, because we are not a classic brand, at least, it's not what Ulysse Nardin is today. I would say that we are a sporty and contemporary high horology brand. Having said that, when we'll have the opportunity to, redesign a Freak X or, redesign, a Marine at some point, those collections have to evolve around time. We'll definitely add a dash of timelessness, a dash of elegance. It means having shape that are slightly more round, but still with nervosity, as opposed to having something super sharp. So we are very conscious of having design that lasts. So you might see some development also in that classic direction, but not like classic, because at the end of the day, if we want to embody that spirit of being a pioneer, doing things differently and thinking differently, we can't have a Me Too product. It's true in the product, it's true in the marketing, it's true in the messages and so on. So just to give you an idea, we wanted to launch this year, I don't know if I told that in a previous podcast, but anyway, we had developed like 4 years ago a new marine with an integrated bracelet. We were supposed to launch the piece this year. And back in February last year, when I was just appointed MD of UN, we took the decision to cancel that product. Was the product bad? No. But the product was not UN enough.
Mm-hmm.
It was too conventional. So it cost us a few hundreds of thousands of Swiss francs, gone. But ultimately, we should be able to launch that product in 2027. And that product is going to be amazing. And it will be very UN. You know what I mean? You won't be able to say, but you took inspiration from that, it looked a bit like that. No, it will be like a proper marine of Ulysse Nardin.
Why I also raise this topic, based on my knowledge as a retailer and also with our community of collectors, is any sword is a double-edged sword. A coin has two sides. Johan Cruyff, the famous football player, the Dutchman, had a saying, every advantage has a disadvantage. Because you guys are pushing the envelope so much, and it's innovating the whole industry, that has a price ticket. Your value for money is very high, but it's hyper horology. So people sometimes forget you add a lot of value in manufactured calibers on you. Marines, torpilleurs, divers, and the entry level is actually very accessible, and you get great bang for your buck, as they say.
Yeah.
So I point that out, and do you guys experience that in that headwind of pushing the envelope, innovating, that maybe consumers forget that you have that? Or are you letting that go on purpose and you want to push the brand upwards?
I think it's a matter of sequence. It was important that in the last 4 or 5 years that we really establish the Freak as a collection. Freak before was not a collection. Before it was every year or so, or every couple of years, a Freak being launched. So we started really, I think, with the Freak X in 2019, then the Freak 1, then the Freak S, so we have a collection. But you see, it takes... I remember having like a couple of years ago a discussion with George Bamford at the Geneva days, maybe 2.5 years ago. 2 years ago. And he was saying to me, wow, I was wearing the Freak X Rose Gold. He said, stunning, can I have a look at it? And I said, yes, that's the watch we launched 4 years ago. And he said, yeah, I never had the opportunity to have it in my hands. So even someone who is very much into the industry had never had the opportunity to handle a Freak X. So it takes years. So therefore, I think we will really not close the chapter, but really we will finish a journey on really focusing a lot on Freak at the end of next year, because we are celebrating 25 years of Freaks. And then you're going to see also more of the other lines and more also of the entry being pushed, in fact, in terms of communication, in terms of new development. What I can say today is, yes, I would say the mid to high end has more traction, but also it's where we are focusing and bringing novelties. So, the Diver Air that retail for 38,000 Swiss francs that we launched at Watches and Wonder, the success has been beyond what I was expecting. I don't want to be too much in that situation where we have, to allocate the watches to the concern. But as a matter of fact, we are. Because most of our ADs have already committed to the final clients all their annual allocation. And we are trying already to give visibility for next year's allocation. So it's new to be in that situation, to be honest, for UN. So it means also that we are doing the right thing. But then, what I can tell you on the price range, to be honest, today to have products that are at 9 or 10K Swiss franc of Ulysse Nardin is not right for a brand positioning. And the result of that is because we've been also launching cheaper products in the past. And if you think about that, the Marine that was really the bestseller of UN, that has been discontinued about 10 years ago, the one with the element, with the rubber strap. You see that type of Marine that we manufactured from 24 to 2014. That was retailing 10 years ago, 9,800 Swiss francs. So today it would be like 13, 14, 15K. You see? So from a pricing positioning, in the future, the entry of UN will be probably in the range of 13,000 Swiss, so 14,500 euro. We are manufacturing just a few thousand pieces a year. We are not a volume brand. We are, an independent brand. And the access will be slightly higher than, it is today. But I would say when I look at the product portfolio performance, we do still well on the torpilleur. We do quite well also on the diver next, the entry-level diver with a lot of tech component, innovation in the material also that retail for like 12K is also doing well. But from a communication, from a positioning, yes, we focus on the higher end.
Matthieu, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. We have to end the show now, unfortunately, but it has been a brilliant episode. And thank you so much for taking the time out of what I'm sure is a very busy schedule to come and sit with us here and for braving the heat of Geneva. We will see you soon. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, subscribe, comment, and check back in with us soon. We'll be back from Geneva Watch Days in a moment.